So today we're gonna do what we thought was a small job on our Roadtrek 190 Popular. You ever have one of those days when a 5-minute job turns into a whole weekend? So the problem started with this, and this coming off of this, which has broken, and now I gotta remove that. So to do that, I gotta go over here to the other side of the van, where you'll see I've taken my hammer, screwdriver, and I've whacked off, I've hit this off of the pipe, and you can see where I just took that one screw out of this side. There's one more on the other, and this whole L thing here is gonna come off. And once we do that, you're gonna see that the sewage pipe is underneath. This pipe acts as the holder for that, and we're gonna have to replace the whole thing. So we're starting off with taking off these 2 screws. We're gonna take this pipe out next, and then we're gonna have to buy some parts. Okay, all right, okay. So now that you got the pipe, you got that screw off this side, the screw to the other side. When you remove that pipe, you're gonna see your flex pipe underneath, the corrugated one. We're gonna take this one out and we're gonna go buy a new one, and then we're gonna have to reattach it here. But at the same time, we gotta get a whole new pipe here because this one has broken off. So we'll start with this and we'll make our way to this. Oh my God. Oh, I should be wearing gloves. Yep, I should definitely be wearing gloves. You gotta unscrew this guy here, which is holding the pipe on. My only fear is that when I take this off, there's gonna be a lot of stuff underneath it, and of course I didn't put on any gloves. Ah, look at that. So that's what it looks like with the pipe removed. We gotta get a new one of these, get it custom cut and replaced, and yeah. Let's get, oh, it is a 4-inch. It's a 4-inch pipe. I think what we're gonna end up doing for simplicity's sake is we might just end up cutting this guy in half, getting a coupler or a joiner, and then just putting on another 2 feet. But you gotta make sure when you do it, you maintain the same length. You have to keep the same length here. You don't want it any longer or shorter, or it's not gonna be held in by that bracket. Just getting you this and that, and we'll be right back. Okay.
This one was alone. A 10-footer cost me $30 Canadian. Then we got this piece of PVC pipe, 4-inch. That's $30 just for that pipe. The coupler was only $4. I shot at that, and then the glue's gonna run you about $10. So that's
Just hold still, yes. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Ah, we're there. So coming back to our main piece that we'll be reinstalling and extending on, we're gonna have to use one of these couplers. So to do that, it's gonna go over top each one about 1.5 to 2 inches. So we wanna make sure that all this area, 2 inches deep on this pipe, is nice and clean and free of all this buildup and stuff on it. That way we're gonna get a nice easy slide with this. Also, make sure you have the right PVC glue. Of course, I made sure that I got the right one because this one was $9 and the other one was $14. So logically, yeah. Now that we got the pipe nice and clean, we're going to make sure that the coupler fits on it nice and easy. No obstructions in there. Perfect. Then we're going to get our PVC cement here. We're going to put a liberal amount of it, the gray stuff, the cheap stuff. We're going to put that all around the outside of this one, inside of this one, and when we put these guys together, we're going to use maximum effort to push it right down so it seats nice and flat in there. All right, let's get these all coated up. We're going to place these guys together, and then we're going to quickly put it on the floor, lean our body weight on it. Ah, perfect. You want to see those 2 sides line up and fit nice and tightly in there. Perfect. Now we're all set to cut the next piece. I'll just take my measuring tape. I know that from here out is 2 feet exactly. I've lined my pipe up right with the center stem inside the coupler. That's right where it's going to sit. So I'm going to take my measuring tape. I'm going to mark it out. Go to 2 feet, mark that on my pipe, and that's going to be where I'm going to start cutting. And that's where I'm going to make my cut. All right, back to the saw. Right. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? piece of cake. Super easy. Alrighty, now it's time to join these two guys together because this is a brand new piece. It's still pretty clean, but highly recommend take a knife, clean up those edges, make sure there's no little flakes of plastic anywhere. Don't cut yourself, be careful, this is not safe. Now you're going to want to take your super cheap cement that you bought, because, you know, this isn't really holding water. This is just holding the hose that holds the water. Okay, let's save some money. Alright, we're going to line the inside of this guy thoroughly, just like we did the last. And then we're quickly going to get the end of this guy that we cut glued up for that first 1.5 inches. And we're going to use the same method again here. So we're going to put these two pieces together like so, and then using our body weight leaning on the pipe till it seats in there perfectly. We're going to take our measuring tape here and we'll give it a measure, and right from the end, 2 feet. Perfect. We are ready to reinstall this, but first we got to do some pipe fitting. We got to do something to get this guy here onto the end of this guy here. Can you guess how we're gonna? Hot water. Yeah, the answer is hot water. Let's go. Always be careful with your glue. You can either clean that up or close all the doors and windows and clean that up. $10. I guess I could, in theory, just scrape that back up and put it back in here somehow, right? That should be a viable, maybe? Let's see. Why not? Let's see if we could scoop this up and put it in there. Highly unlikely. Oh my God, you're gonna make even more of a mess. But hey, we're here. Why not? Let's see what we can do. Actually, not bad. Not bad at all. Oh my God, I can't breathe. Where did all these pink elephants come from? What the hell? Oh my God. All right, that's enough. So yeah, you're gonna wanna wipe the rest of that up and just take your loss, clean your threads, and move forward. That would make a cool t-shirt. Try to smear it all up as much as we can. Oh, I'm going to open all the windows. Oh my God. And get all the air in here because... So this end piece that goes on the end of the accordion pipe, it's got a little blocker. So if you just got fluids, you could take this off and drain those out. But that's also how you lock it into position with this piece of metal that I've so beautifully painted. So it sits over top of that. This part gets screwed in and mounted onto the side of the pipe. So then this hinges open, releasing the cap and allowing the hose to come through. So what we're gonna have to do eventually is line this guy up, drill a couple holes, and then re-secure this with rivets on the side of that 4-inch pipe. So what I'm noticing here is when you line this guy up and you put it inside that pipe there, there's these two knobby points on the top and on the bottom. We're going to hinge it from the left side as it was before, but I took my X-Acto knife here and I just scraped out a bit at the bottom here and at the top of the pipe, and that just lets this sit like a couple millimeters in more, and it just seems to, I'm going to carve it a little bit more, but it just seats right in there perfectly. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to line up my hinge and get this guy hooked up with that guy and rivet it into this guy. Now we got our hinge. We're going to put our cap loosely fitting into those two grooves we carved in at the top and bottom so it sits just as it should. We're going to put this guy facing the proper way over top of that hole and along the side, making sure that it's nice and in line. Now, a way to do that, when you got the pipe facing this way, the pipe faces back underneath the van. So this would be out to the back of the van. We've got our pipe all lined up. The hose is going to come up the driver's side of the van. This hinge goes on the front side of it. That's where it was initially. I've marked my two holes once I was happy with the positioning of this hinge on it. I just drill those holes, and then we're going to take some regular size rivets. And we're going to rivet this guy right in there. I know. Frog jokes. You saw that coming. Oh, perfect. Okay. Now when you're putting your hinge on, make sure that this tab is facing out, otherwise you won't be able to close it. So we're going to put these two guys right in through here on the side, and we're just going to dry fit it, make sure it's sitting properly. So we got our rivets in, just dry fitted. We're gonna put our cap back on and we're gonna put the hinge on it there, and that looks great. That's sitting just as it should. And that's how it's gonna sit while we're in transport, right there. And once that hose is inside of it as well, it'll be pushing it out a bit too. So yeah, like that. Let's get this riveted in. 1 and 2. Beauty. Make sure this sits in there nicely now. So that will go over top. Beauty. And then this cap goes over top to lock it into place for transport. That's gonna work out great. Now you just got to connect this hose to this flange here and put your coupler over, maybe a little bit of tape. But the secret to doing this the effortless way, hot water, which I don't have. We'll be right back. Alrighty, so we got our hot water here. I'm gonna pour it in a bowl. You only have to have maybe 2 inches deep to sink this guy in. Alright, so we're gonna take our, what are these called? Put in the comments below. You're gonna take this guy, put it over top of your pipe, and then you're gonna take the end of that pipe and just dip it into the hot water and just let it sit there for 10 seconds or so. Now when you pull it out, it's gonna be very pliable and hot. So you wanna just open it up a bit first. And maybe we'll give it another quick little dip. And now that it's nice and very pliable, we'll take our end, slip it over top, and get that lip over there, and that over there, and then if you get this and you move it over to that, and we're gonna put it back in the hot water. What you don't want to do is use a screwdriver. Might seem like a great idea, but you're just gonna poke holes through that. Okay, and there we go. We got it all the way around. And this is just to give it a little extra protection. And we're gonna put it on fairly tight. And just go around once, that's it. Hiya! You're gonna want to trim off that little copper piece there because you will stab yourself with it. And then we're gonna tighten this guy up. Don't use a drill for this because if you over tighten it, you'll either strip the screw. Just not a good situation. Nice and snug for no leaks there. Now we can take our snake, feed it through our pipe here, and I think we're just about ready to bring this under the van for install. And that's going to hold that on nicely. Perfect. One thing I wanted to do before I put this under the van is I want to take the original sticker that has all the patent numbers. Okay, so we're going to put some hot water on top of the sticker here. And that should make it fairly easy to peel off while it's hot. All right, removal successful. But will it still stick onto this pipe? Highly unlikely, but let's give it a shot. Kinda. I guess it's kinda on as good as it was. Little nostalgia there. I just thought, yeah. So we got the sticker on there. Looks decent. I'm not gonna go crazy about it or anything, you know. And now we can toss this relic away and get this relic underneath the van again. All right, day 2, here we go. We got the pipe, we got everything mounted on, riveted in. This is working great, but there's this. You know what this is? This is a replacement that I made for the part. If we go back to the old footage, a little flashback here. If you see here, there's this piece of plastic on the side of the pipe on the inside. Why that's there is, it's gonna get placed in here, right? And it's gonna stop this from shaking around. If you look at the old footage, you'll see that that last pipe was really worn down inside, and that's because of the shaking. And I think this guy here, with this half of the front broken off, it was just shaking all over the place, causing that break. So to glue on this guide piece on the inside of the pipe, we're gonna start by laying the pipe down on the table, making sure this is facing away from me, and then as we come to the end of the pipe, we want that spacer to go right on the inside, so the back of the pipe when it's orientated in the van. How we're gonna do that is we're gonna take this piece, we're gonna put some of our nice cheap gray glue on there, we're gonna put it into position, and once we put it into position and it's glued, we're gonna use our vice grips to act as a clamp, and that's gonna hold in our piece while it dries in place. Let's get this one in. Surprisingly, I'm able to open this can even though that glue was all over it from yesterday. So we're just gonna put a bit on the outside here. Gonna be pretty generous with that. We're in the gloves, and we're gonna put just a touch on the inside of that pipe as well. Now we're gonna place this guy into position, making sure it's nice and flush with the end. And then we're gonna use our vice grip here to clamp that down. Remove a little excess of that glue, and that should be perfect. We'll give that about 15 minutes to cure. All right, now that that's cured, I've taken my X-Acto knife here and I've just scraped down the side just so it's nice and smooth. You don't want a sharp edge that your hose is going to be rubbing up against every time you retract it and take it out there. So we're good to go. We gotta crawl onto the fan. Let's see how this works out. So before we put the pipe back in, I'm going to take this opportunity to give a little paint job to all this rust here. I got some leftover heat paint, but it's flat black. I think it'll work great. I'm going to protect the concrete here first, give it a quick spritz, and then we'll get the pipe ready to put back in. So before you put in the pipe, this holder is made a specific way for a specific reason. Reason being is you got to get this hinge through there when you feed it through. So the hinge will stay on the top, you'll feed it through the pipe, and then turn it to the proper orientation. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it just as it lays. I'm gonna get in there, get the pipe from within the pipe, connect it to the connector there, and then I'll put this pipe in position and lock it down. But for now, let's get the hot bowl of water out. Let's get this thing sprayed with a little olive oil as a lube, and we'll see if we can get that clamp down in 20 minutes or less. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna spice it up and use a little olive oil to help lubricate. Oh my God, that's gonna hurt. Okay. Help lubricate that up, and then we're gonna heat up that coil pipe in there and see if we can't get it hooked up. How can I? So we got our oil here. We're just gonna give it a little, just a little bit, and that's just gonna make it that much easier to slide that pipe on. We're gonna get our hot bowl of water here, heat that up, and then immediately try to put it onto there. Make sure you put your clamp on your hose first. It'll make it much easier to tighten up later. Okay, oh my God. All right, well, there ain't a lot of room under here, but we got our kettle, we got our bowl, we got our pipe and our clamp. Let's see if we can get it all. Oh, that's hot. Get it all together and get it onto the septic pipe. Again, I just sprayed that quickly with some olive oil to act as a lubricant. We're gonna heat up that end in the bowl of hot water, and hopefully it'll slide right on, but we all know it probably won't. All right, let's wrestle with this thing. Okay, it's very tight for space here, but we're gonna take our clamp, we're gonna put it on our hose here. All right, so we got our kettle of hot water here. We're gonna dump into our bowl ever so carefully, making sure not to burn ourselves. And get that out of the way. Dip into that water and try to get her on that mount there. Let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. See if we can get this one and done here. All right, so we're heating up that pipe, a couple of dips in the hot water, and then once it's pliable, we're gonna try to lift her up, shake off the excess water, and let's see if we can lift this on and slide it on to our mount here. I think the key is to grab the excess end there, loop the far side, and then try to shimmy this guy onto there. And we're pulling. And we're positive thinking. Got half, okay. We got half. That's half's good. Okay, now we got the, oh, look at that. I think we got it on there. We're gonna slide it down as far as we can so it sits well. Beautiful. Yeah, the more grunting sounds you make, the easier it gets. So, there we go. When you're putting this guy on, you're probably best off to have a bit that's the right size for that nut on there, and that would make it a lot easier to screw down. Oh, can I? Oh, there we go. I got another arm in there. Okay. We're just gonna tighten this guy up. And with any luck, that's gonna hold and we'll never have to deal with this again. That feels perfect. That's not gonna come off. Oh, beautiful. All right, now we're gonna fish our pipe through the hole over here so that that can be adjusted over there. So let's look over here. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. And once we get this into position, we're gonna use the 2 screws to put it back in place. So now we're gonna take the pipe and we're gonna feed it through this holder, hinge side up, and then turn it into position. Okay. So we're gonna turn the pipe in the way it should go, but then turn it an extra 90 degrees, slide that hinge through the top, just like that. And then we're gonna turn the pipe into position here, just like that. So at this point, I'm gonna take the hose off the other end so that it can swivel around and pull it through the side. There we go. And then we're gonna put that pipe right back over top of that one, and you're gonna have to whack it into position till these 2 holes line up and you can put your screws back in. Oh my goodness. There we go. And that's where you want it. Now we're gonna put the screw on this side, screw it on the other side, and we are done. I hope. Okay, let's go. Oh my God. All right. And so to finish up the job, we're gonna screw in the last screw here, and these are the 2 Robertson screws that hold this pipe onto the tank outlet. So be careful here, you don't want to over tighten this or strip it. Nice and snug, and that's it. Now that pipe is not gonna go anywhere, and that hose is easily gonna come in and out, and we won't have any more poop or stuff sitting in the bottom of this pipe and leaking every time I turn right. Thanks for following me on this, guys. You can do this. Don't think you can't. One step at a time. I believe in you. We'll see you in the next one. That's it. That's all. We're done.